Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I am going to show you how to collect data from a PDF file, specifically from a PDF invoices. So let me show you the final result first and then I'll explain the code and everything. So I have this particular PDF invoices, this one, you can say cosmetic brands, and I do have invoice number, I do have purchase order, invoice date, terms, due date, Incoterms, and ship file. Okay, and I have all of these line items that I want to extract the information for. Okay, so that's our main goal, to collect data from this particular PDF file from one, or you can process a bunch of PDF files like 100 or 200 or thousands PDF file. So this is our expected output. Okay, if we want to process all the PDF files in that particular folder, then this is going to be my expected output. Okay, so I'll have two sections. One is the metadata section. So let's just wait a little bit. Okay, this is my expected output. I'll have one sheet that is metadata and another sheet that is line items. So let me explain what this metadata does. In the metadata, I have, let me just out of it this. Okay, so I have the purchase order, the PO number, invoice date, due date, invoice number, total due, and file path. So the file path is important because I can cross check that if it's correctly extracting the information or not. Okay, and I have this information like an invoice number, and that invoice number is also present on this particular sheet. You can see the invoice number, because then I can map out like which data is from which particular PDF files, right? So I have the SKU, and you will see that I don't have a SKU in the PDF. Okay, so let me show you. So I don't have any SKU. So what that particular SKU is, this is the style number, that's the color, and then give me the size, and that will become one SKU. Like this number, this is the color, this is the size. Okay, this is the description, this is the quantity, this is all SPCS, and then unit price, line total, and invoice number. So let me explain with this particular line items. You can see we have, this is the style, this is the color, and excess, that is going to be one SKU, and for that one the line price is 7.25 and quantity is 1, so the line total will be 7.25. But for this one, the SKU will be this style, this color, and M. Okay, and the quantity is 2, not 3. Okay, so the quantity is 2 and the line price is 7.25, so the line total will be 2 into 7.25, that's going to be 14.5. Okay, that's how we get the data and clean this out from this particular PDF file. So that's our final expected output. Let me show you the code. I'm not going to explain everything from the start to like how to build out that code, but I'm going to explain the code. Okay, so this is my Jupyter notebook. So let me just open Jupyter notebook in this particular folder. Okay, I am using this particular PDF library for extracting the data from the PDF file. I'm using pandas and I'm using OS library so that we can interact with all the files in that particular folder. Okay, and I have this particular class, that charismatic brands. I built the class because I have other invoices for different brands. I have different type of invoices, and that's why I'm using a class for one brand. Okay, so what it does, it just basically takes the file path as a parameter, like initialization, and then you can just specify the file path. It's open that particular PDF, get the first page because it has only one page per PDF. Okay, and then in this section it just find all the tables in that particular page and the metadata. So I have one function, get invoice metadata, and I'm just adding the file path in that particular metadata. That's the part where I get the metadata part. Okay, and then we have the line items. I have another function, get invoice line items. I'm just passing the tables, and then I'm just adding this invoice number from the metadata section, and that's the line items. Now let me explain this one, invoice metadata. Okay, it's a trial and error process. It's not like something that I started from scratch and then I built this code at one go. It's a trial and error process. Okay, so you just need to see what are the tables that you get from this particular files, right? And then you can process for you can build out that logic. So let me just show you the df for this one, tables one. So that's the second table. Okay, so let's say print df, right? folder path, and I need file path, folder path, PDF invoice, charismatic bands. Let me just grab this. That's going to be this. Okay. Service. Metadata. Okay. Now you can see that the second table is like, account number, sales order number, invoice number, and invoice date. That is this part. Okay. Account number, sales order, invoice number, invoice date, due date, and total due. You can see that is on the next part. You can see that is in the first row, like this one. So it's being considered as a different row in that particular table instead of a table with columns, but the columns in the down section, right? So that's why I say that it's a trial and error process, right? So you need to see that in a table how it's represented in the pandas, and then you need to modify that one, okay, based on the structure. So you can see that's why I get this DF, then I just converted this TF into 2DF and then concatenated into one. So the 2DF is going to be the first one is this top one, and the next one is this bottom one, okay? That's what we have in this particular line. You can say df.head1, so that's the first data frame, and the next one is pd.data frame values. So it starts from row 2 and go up to 3, and column 1 to column 3, and the column header is just going to be what we have in this row 2. Okay, so basically give me this row as a columns and give me this as a value. Okay, and as Python indexing is the ending index is not included, so that's why 2 to 3, so it will just give me the third row in that particular data frame, and then it just get the data frame and concatenated into one data frame. Now top section, it says table 0 to pandas, purchase order, invoice date, due date, table 0 in the first table. So let me just print that table 0 as well. Now if I just run this, you can see the first table looks like this: purchase order, and then style, none, and so on. Okay, it's not showing all the data very nicely, but return this. Let's see. Okay, so this is how this looks. The first table: purchase order, column 1, column 2, invoice date, terms, and so on. So basically that is this one. So it's considering that this whole thing is the one table, from this top section to this particular bottom section, it's one big table. So that's one more issue. So I need to clean this up, and there are some parameters on this PyMuPDF library, so you can play with that. I haven't tried yet, but I will try and share what I find with you guys. Okay, so let's give me the first table. Okay, and from this first table, you can see top section, I get the purchase order, invoice date, and due date, and I want the invoice number and total due. So embed this top section, okay, and get this invoice number and total due from this second table, and just concatenate them and just rename this column name, and this will give me the invoice metadata. Okay, and then we have this line items, and the line item is on the first table as I showed you earlier. So that's the first table, and then just drop this top part, this two. Okay, because I want only this ones. And also if you look into this PDF data as a pandas, then you'll see all of these are being concatenated into one big string. So that's why I'm just saying, okay, just give me the values of the rows 2, and the column will be index 1, that means row 2, and index 2, that means row 3. Okay, and then I just drop these columns, which is a none column. So if you look into this, let me show you again. So if you look into this, then you can see all the line items is on this particular row. So that's why I'm just getting this data as a data of the new data frame, and this one as a column. But you can see there is none columns, like none. So I want to drop that. So that's why I'm just using this drop. columns equals to df.columns is NA. And then after drop this, then I'm just using this concatenate, and I'm using some complex structure here that I get the data frame, and I just split each row by new line, and then I just build out that new data frame, new list of series, and then I just concatenate that to get this new data frame. So let me just show you. Okay, is this, I'm going to comment out this 10 line items of, I'm not breaking anything. Let's see, line items, and you can see that I get this particular data, right? So I just converted that one row into n rows. Okay, now I need to drop this, like, thank you lines. I need to drop this NA part, and that's what I'm doing on this section. Drop NA by style column, that's the subset, and then I'm just dropping this total column and net ext amount because that's not important for me. Okay, and then I'm just splitting this quantity and size column. You can see quantity and size. So we have multiple quantity and size information, like 2s 1m. So I need to split by space first, and then I need to split that into two column again. Okay, so that's what I'm doing, quantity and size. So split that by space, and if I just run this, I'll get like this. You can say it's a list. Now I need to expand this list into rows. So like that is this one, explode, and then I'm just resetting the index, and then I'm just splitting that particular quantity and size column into two column, and one is quantity, another one is size. Okay, so if we go into this, you can see quantity and size. If we run this, then I get this, like quantity is one column, size is another column. Now the next problem is this line price has dollar sign, so it's not being considered as a numeric value. So I need to remove this dollar and space and convert this into a float number, like numerical value, and I need to convert this quantity as a numerical value as well. So those two data type operations, and also I need to find the SKU. So SKU is basically style, color, and style, and then I'm just dropping those three columns because that's not needed anymore. And then I'm just changing the line price column name to unit price, and then this is the main part. Okay, you can see, so we calculate the unit price. So I get the unit price, replace all the non-digit part and dot part with space, and then convert that as a float, and then I get the quantity to convert to a numeric value. Line total is basically the multiplication of unit price multiplied by quantity, and UI name is default to piece, and then just converting this into proper column heading, and that's it. Now this part is just basically looking through each of this file and getting the data and saving this data into one Excel file. Okay, and that's it. So let me just drop this, and if I run this, then it will save the data. Okay, what does it says? Table not on page. That's probably, let's see, let me delete this. No, it's working fine. So I think I have a validation that it's need to be a PDF file, otherwise it was just looking on this Excel file, and that's why it was failing. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and hit the bell icon for more contents. Have a good day.